And oh my god, I'm making a mess. Yeah, and sorry, I'm trying to put the YouTube live. Oh, sorry, I'll say a quick hello to all the people that came on my YouTube live, which is the usual access. Thank you guys for asking all these questions, and sorry about the delay. So yeah, we have another question. Oh no, sorry, we were onto the hard boots for splitboarding. So I think it's a great solution for going up. I think the feeling of going down with hard boots, some people can get by with it. I really struggle. For me, the soft boot thing is really a big thing. But I'm working hard with my sponsor Deluxe. We're working on a project. I'm not gonna tell you more. but but yeah, there's some stuff coming in, and I definitely believe in a solution that's going to be a hybrid, and I'm working really hard on it, and I hope I can deliver that very soon. Oh my god, what a shit show. Am I still riding in the Pyrenees time to time? Yeah, I was in like over Christmas. I was in the Pyrenees for about 3 weeks, and yeah, it was great at the beginning, and then it became so warm, like everywhere else in Europe. I don't know where you are in the world, but yeah, in Europe we've had like so much sunshine and heat. Well, it's been actually quite cold lately, and right now in Switzerland we've got level 1 avalanche danger all over the country. I think it's green everywhere when you see the avalanche forecast. So that's completely nuts, and that's something I've never seen. But I'm actually really happy because I love these conditions. Yeah, we can talk more about it, or you can ask me questions about that if you want. But yeah, question from John. Xavier, comparing with the Gore-Tex Pro, is the future light material as strong and durable as the Gore-Tex in the long term? I mean, well, from what I've seen, it's like the same durability, I would say. Like the first versions was getting dirty quicker. I think that was the downside of it. But now it feels a bit like the Gore-Tex, a bit lighter and a bit softer, but it doesn't have that effect of getting like more dirty. So to be entirely honest, I have no idea if it's stronger or more durable or less, but I would see it equal. Yeah. So there's a Black Forest rider from Germany. Hello, saying he's from the Black Forest from Germany. Thanks. A question from Tarek. So when riding a long steep line, would you rather have a long board like 160, 165, or shorter like 150, 155? Well, my two boards is of choice. Like whenever I'm doing like sort of okay lines, is either 63 or 67 because I've got a very long nose on my board. And whenever I want to do, I'm riding really for me, no pressure, nothing. I'll take the 63. But whenever I'm filming or I'm really wanting to go really big, to go really fast, to hit big jumps, I'll take the 67. And it's actually incredible how 4 centimeters makes such a big difference. Yeah. Question from John. Any new board shapes in the pipeline? Yes, my friend. Yeah, the new XV is coming out. So next fall, I've been testing it at the end of the season last year, and it was mind blowing because we made it a tiny bit wider and we added some kind of softness. Well, I'm not going to tell you about the technology and stuff, but something which makes all the edging a lot smoother and it feels like so much easier. I've been really happy about it. So I'm gonna get the first production samples very soon, and I'll be riding with it at the end of the season. So you're gonna be able to see it here and there. And also I've got some new boots coming, like completely new design, like with a fully new technology, with a nice new like splitboarding specific feature, which I think yeah, people are gonna like. So keep tuned. Sorry, I'm not being able to follow with all the questions. How important is core and leg strength? Good question. But for me, I've always had big legs and I've been always riding a lot, so I've never been focusing too much on the legs, and I really felt that if I had to train one thing in my body, it was the abs. I think it's the most important feature because that's what makes you keep balance and recover from mistakes and being able to just stay on your feet. So with a good core, you can go fast and kick some ass. And I think the legs will come into play more for durability, for being able to handle tough conditions in a longer period of time. So Yeah. Konstantinos, hello. Boot fitting has been a pain in the butt for many riders over the years. What's your take on it? Do you go Mondo point or use the old if your toes touch the liner, you're good technique? That's a good question because I've been going through, like throughout my career, I've been going through different stages. So for many years, I used to have custom fitted liners made out of, like those conformable, which are like foam injected, which are like kind of ski based, more or less. And I used a soft tongue on them to being able to not have too much stiffness. And I know that I needed to really break them over like quite a few sessions until I could feel comfortable. So I had a pair which lasted me 10 years, which was stinking like crazy, but which I actually liked because I didn't need to close my boots much at all. My foot was really locked in, so that was great. They were quite cold, and eventually I got into like the like production kind of what's the like it's like thermoflex, it's like the production deluxe liner, like the high-end ones which you can put in the oven, and they mold a bit to your foot, and they're much lighter, they dry much faster, and yeah, you might not have the exact same precision, but actually you don't really feel the difference. So now I'm fully convinced with those, and I'm very very happy. So I've got custom fitted soles, that's super important, but the rest I just have a thermoflex deluxe like, yeah, I put in my oven the sorry, my liners, but I try to not change them. So for example, from one season to the next, I'll change my boots, but I will keep the same liners, so for maybe 2-3 years. Yeah. um, what do I think about the volume of shifted boards? I'm sorry, I don't know shifted boards. Really sorry about that. Yeah, sliding back with my speed board when the track is a little bit steep, but easily climb the same track. Why there's such difference between speedboarding versus touring? I think this is the question, and the one question that we're all trying to solve. So yeah, basically split boards are wider, and also we have soft boots, so we've got more flexibility on our side, and the system is not as rigid. So whenever we put an edge into hard snow, it's really hard to keep really the board sideways because there's so much leverage. So basically the solution is to stiffen the boots. So that's why some snowboarders use like some hard boot system. But personally, I am like fully into soft boots, and like my way to being as effective as possible is first of all to put a lot of forward lean. So I don't put my high back into walking mode, I put it into riding mode, and then I tighten my boots uh, and my bindings like crazy, like to have as much rigidity as possible. And then I try to really slide my foot to make sure that like my edge will kind of a bit burn the snow and really give maximum grip to the edges. That's all you can do. You can use your knives also, that's going to be a great solution, but it's also limited. But once again, hopefully there's going to be a solution that's going to come eventually, and that's going to solve this problem because it is freaking frustrating. I'm with you. Do I play guitar? No, it's my daughter. She's in the next door, but yeah, maybe I should ask her a concert later. What about how to traverse uphill? Cool. I think thank you. That's a good, also, like that's a really annoying question, also, and a really annoying problem when you have to do uphill traverse onto your backside, especially. I think that's every snowboarder's nightmare. I think poles usually solve really like the problem quite a lot. They help you a lot. I'm really a big believer into two poles in the hand and one foot, and then you try to manage a bit like this. But if not, I would just advise you to traverse straight, slightly downhill, hike up a bit, and then traverse again. So once again, if you follow like skiers that have put this kind of traverse, it's going to be a pain. Yeah, but I'm thinking of an episode which is kind of trying to educate skiers to ride with snowboarders, like to not never stop, to always think where they're going to stop, like to not stop just before a long flat section, or to not like to try to, when they make a traverse, to not make it slightly up, but make it slightly down, to always choose the kind of runs that they're going to be doing, to go always in runs where there's going to be as little traverse as possible, and where there's going to be no flat, where you're going to need no poles, basically, and how you can help your fellow snowboarders to to have a good experience. I know so many people that have started splitboarding with skiers, and that stopped because they were pissed off about it. Tac tac tac. I was on ski tour the first time. That's right about the flex. Yeah. And what's the best boot for you? To be honest, I haven't tried the competitors' boots, everyone else's. So I've got my pro model with Deluxe, which I've loved, which has evolved a little bit over the last 9 years, because it's been 9 years already. But I would say that, I haven't tried all the other mountaineering options like the Jones and all the others. And the Fitwell and the hard boot systems also that came up lately, that seemed pretty good. But hopefully next winter you will see my solution. I hope this will solve some of these problems. Question from Eric. I'm beginning ski guide career this season. What are some tips that I can give splitboarders on the up? Tips that a skier wouldn't think of. Well, I think one common mistake for skiers when they take a snowboarder is always to, like going on a Z up when it's steep and hard is pretty easy on ski, and that's where your snowboarders are gonna be struggling. And so I would really recommend them, first of all, to bring their poles all the time. Of course, if they're touring, they have them. Have a pair of crampons, and whenever it becomes hard, instead of trying to struggle and put themselves in danger, just start boot packing more easily, and teach them how to boot pack in the proper way. Because if you use your board, and hold it from the like the ends, like the like below the high back, you can really hold yourself in the snow, help yourself, and you're really effective. So I think this is one of the many ones. But if you like that idea of these episodes about skiing helping snowboarders when touring, feel free to let me know, because I need motivation. Thanks. And feel free to bring in any subjects on any episodes that you'd like to see, because it's always helpful. Matteo, my opinion on merino base layers, I would say that to me, I am 100% convinced about merino base layers. I really, really love them. I've got socks, like leggings, and base layers, like all my base layers in merino, and they dry faster, they feel nicer, they don't smell, they last for a long time. So I'm 100% sold. Any projects in Svalbard? I wish, because I really love that place. It's really amazing. So not in the pipeline yet. I've got some other projects which I keep in the box, but I'm trying to go back to Antarctica, and I'm really, really hoping it's gonna work, because this was the best place in the world for me. But maybe Iceland again. We'll see. I've never experienced it in winter, so I think this could be good. When touring in spring, how to provide the skins going wet? To be honest, I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I think you for sure need to dry them in the evening, as you might have noticed. But I don't know if by waxing them a little bit you can prevent them from getting wet. And that's actually a good question that I will research. And on the next Q&A, I'll try to answer that. Which airbag could you recommend for splitboarding? There's so much choice, and you ride with 1 or 2 ice axes. Basically, I think when I tour, I usually like to have 25-30 liters. I think that's kind of the literage that I like, where I can put whatever I'm gonna be needing. So like a few cameras, all my heavy gear, maybe an extra little rope, an extra layer, a bit of food. So I think this is the most important. So you need to find the best ratio between like weight and like the comfort and yeah, and the volume. Yeah, I think this is it. And also, yeah, for sure, I would recommend the smallest backpack, the lightest, but whatever you can get is the best. Yeah. Do you ever ride in the US? Well, I haven't ridden in the US for quite a few years. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Alaska, of course. Haven't gone for a long time. Maybe I will in the future. Yeah, it's I've been trying to minimize on flying too much around the planet. So Alaska is definitely not helping in that matter. So yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I've been leaving it aside a little bit. Strength training or endurance, what should you put more work into? That's a good question. I'm always really bad for any training questions because yeah, because actually, yeah, I ride a lot, so and I've got like big jambonis. My legs are pretty big, so I've never needed really strength in them. So if I could need personally any training, would be more like endurance and then I try to do more like overall strength training by being in the mountains, climbing, biking, doing all sorts of weird missions. But I don't know. You should ask a like some kind of personal trainer and something that fits to you. But I think definitely a combination of the two. Yeah. What's the best wax for you? That's a good question because waxing is always the last thing we think of, and good wax completely changes your session. Like it will make your board a lot easier, a lot more fun to ride, and it will avoid you so much problem on any traverses or anything. And in a way, I would recommend to always try to wax colder than like for free riding to wax always colder, so like colder wax like than the advised temperature because that will make the wax to last longer. You might not glide as fast on a like if you're trying to make a race, but you're gonna have more general gliding, which will work. But on the contrary, if you're waxed warm on a colder day, it will be sticky as hell. So always, if you hesitate, go universal, or if you want to be a bit more techy, go with a temperature waxing, but with a colder temperature. All right. Maybe a question on Instagram now. What's the timing there? Good question. I don't know. It's we're only a quarter of an hour in there, so yeah, we're here for another 40 minutes. So keep them coming. I'm struggling to to be on it. Hello, Harry Putz from Austria. What's up? No, I've got 3 movies that I'm working on. Like the first one, I'm gonna be working with like those kind of small paraglides, like hike and fly kind of technique, but adapted to snowboarding. So that's what I'm gonna be starting to work from the end of the season to next season, and I've got a nice project that I'm working on with Elias Erhardt, which is not 100% confirmed, but we're really working hard on it, and we hope that it's gonna be on and that we're gonna be able to start talking about it very soon. But yeah, we're gonna let you know, Harry. Heli Touring's friends fun sport, fun spot. Well, yeah, I don't know. There's a bit of controversy around using helis, and I haven't used helis for quite a long time. But yeah, I think that the heli touring is kind of a good combination because you're going to be using such a short amount of time the heli, and then from there, if you're using like your vertical with a little bit of touring, you're going to be able to do such a cool adventure with a really small amount of heli. So of course, like a good thing to say is to be like, okay, helis suck, don't use them, etc. They make so much noise. They don't pollute as much, but the stigma of it is a bit bad. But at the same time, if you don't use it like crazy, just up and down all day, I think the heli touring is a good combination. So that you're gonna find everywhere because when you tour, like whatever terrain you're riding, it's going to be fun because you're out there, you're touring, you're gonna like you've got the heli, so you've got really a lot of access to everything. So yeah, here I've got like here in Verbier, there are many places that are amazing. Yeah, but once again, it's a question of yeah, I try to avoid it if I can. Yeah. I started to make a movie by myself about freeriding Black Forest. Mr. Black Forest. You're funny. Matka Sashimi Split 156 seems too big for me, a small size. So why only one size for the split? Not a lot of choice actually. Think about little man. Okay, thanks for the input. Yeah, I think you can ride even if you're 168. You can ride it, but yeah, you might prefer a smaller version. So I'll keep that in mind, and hopefully we can make a smaller option because actually that would be more clever to do this, to do two sizes in a sashimi, so the 66 and a smaller size, rather than the sushi split, because I think the sushi split, to me, I find it too small personally, and I'm not a big fan of it. I shouldn't say this, but it's good to be honest. How much do you love paragliding? Good question. Love paragliding, and yeah, I love the fact that first of all, being in the air is insane. You can use it all the time, and now with the packable paraglides, it's so amazing how you can just, like get out. Like you see one mountain, you kind of check a bit the conditions if it's fine. If you go in the morning or in the evening when the air is still, just hike up and fly down. Or in winter, I use it all the time. I come home with it, or I've been trying in the last few days to access a few lines with it and stuff. I don't know. I think it's such a fun tool which opens so many possibilities. So I will definitely keep on experimenting on this because I freaking love it. Yeah. And question from Adrian: when I'm going really fast, what are always are you always on the edge or flat basing? I think that's a good question because going fast in snowboarding is not always easy. And yeah, but at the same time, if you try to make, when you go fast and you try to make turns to be too much on the edge, it's going to be painful. So one solution, which is quite good if you see that there is a clean run out, is to go flat base and just go for it and stick with it, because as soon as you're going to try to break a little bit or put your edge down, it's going to be painful. And then I think it's nice in snowboarding to learn to feather your board. So in a way, like let's say that if the angle of the slope is like this, you're going to try not, if you're going to put your edge onto the snow, you're going to try to not put too much angle, but let your board feather above the snow and also above the rocks. And that's something that helpful. Yeah, whenever you go fast, you can start feathering, and whenever you go on rocks also, it's going to be a lot less impactful when you're going to hit sharks or things like this. So yeah, if you can practice that, it's a nice technique to it will help you a lot. Yeah. Tac. Another question: when did you start skiing? So I started skiing when I was 2, and then I started snowboarding when I was 13. Yeah, because I'm from the 90s, No, yeah, back then in the Pyrenees there was only hard boots, pretty much, at least where I started. So we started like this, and we were doing all sorts of stupid stuff with our hard boots, and then got on 2 soft boots, and actually gave up the good old hard boots. Yeah, thank God. Can you give a quick comparison between Sashimi and Xv Splits? Well, yeah, I think the Sashimi is more playful board, which is kind of, it works really, really well in every conditions, but it's more of a powder board than the Xv. The Xv is the ultimate, like all around, all kinds of different snow, which will work always, but which will be a tiny bit less playful. So I think you can choose, whatever your style is, and yeah, and I think this is pretty much the difference, like playfulness versus aggressiveness and being able to go everywhere, and versatileness, like whatever I could say. But yeah, in the, like, since the beginning of the season, I've been touring 90% on the Sashimi, and I've had a blast. Yeah, and even in super crappy conditions. So it's actually it's growing on me, that board, like crazy. Yeah. What tips do you have to be able to take off paragliding with split board on? Oh, that's a really good question. Separate skis on blocking the heels, or board on? Any favorite on your side? That's a really good question, because yesterday I was with Emilian Badu, and like he's always taking off with the split on with the heels locked. and I think this is okay, but it depends what kind of takeoff you have. So if you have a lot of headwind, I like to go 1 foot because I find that you have a lot of power to kind of power through the wind. Otherwise, you get put back on your ass, even if you have your heels locked in ski mode. I think the ski mode is pretty good if you can glide a little bit and you're going to be facing. It's a bit easier, but usually I don't bother. I just stay in snowboarding mode because it saves one maneuver of changing the board from snowboard to split. But I think what I try to do is whenever I'm up, I try to try different scenarios because I'm trying to get better. So sometimes I'll try, like face takeoff. Sometimes I'll try uh, like the board on the harness and on foot. Sometimes I'll try with both my feet on, starting close to the wing, taking speed to just hit the wing really hard so it comes up hard. And I like to try everything pretty much so that I can adapt myself because every takeoff is different really. Tac tac. Which ice axe do you prefer for snowboarding? Tac tac tac. It's funny every time I get asked names, I'm not able to whatever. And so you like the Petzl light, the Gully. Yeah, sorry. So basically aluminium handle, and then the blade in metal. This is what I recommend. The Gully from Petzl for me is, I think, the bomb. It's not too long so that it can fit inside the backpack. And I usually, that was the question before. Do I use one or two? Usually I'll take one. And if I'm going really on a high mountain mission where I know I'm going to be climbing a lot, I'm going to use two. Two is the bomb, really. Yeah, it will have you locked in. Question from Dennis. If you look at a face, how do you judge whether you go considering avalanche danger? Any quick checks or more relying on the overall avalanche bulletin? That's a very good question. I think the avalanche bulletin is a bit of a trick. It's funny, we were discussing that yesterday as well. I think it's about 50% of the accident or 60% of the accidents. I don't remember the name, the numbers exact, but they are happening on avalanche danger 3. And I think the problem is that you think that it's a low level of avalanche risk, and so you're kind of going for it, and this is, you're going to be a lot less careful than on avalanche danger 4 and 5. So I think the avalanche bulletin needs to be taken with a lot of with a big pinch of salt, because also it's always related to you cannot only watch the avalanche bulletin level. You need also to read what they're saying, and it will give you an indication. You need to adapt it to what you're going to be riding, to what your style is and your abilities are, and you need to make your solution. But what I recommend is to always, whatever decision you have, whatever information you have, take a huge margin. And I think this is this is a deep question, like considering whether you go in or not into your run. But what I do at the end of the day is every single run that I do, I try to imagine the worst case scenario. I try to imagine, okay, if the worst of the worst happens, what is it going to be? Is there a solution? Can I avoid it or not? And whenever I'm doubting, this is exactly how I force myself to think. And then at the end I decide, okay, I'm dropping in or not. And I feel it's much easier after having done that process. Do you know any good books where I can read about avalanche and snow conditions in the mountains? Yeah, well, the one book I really, really like is a book called Free Riding. It's from my friend. What's his name? I'll find the name later. Once again, don't ask me for names because I'm freaking. Sorry. It's from Jimmy Oden. It's called Free Riding. It's really good. Yeah, it's big. I don't know where you find it, but it's quite old now. It's 15 years old, but it's got a lot of different informations on avalanches and on everything, and I think that's one I like. But if you've got one good book to recommend, please send over the solutions, because I'm not reading enough on the topic, and I would love to hear about it. If you have something not too complicated, because in Switzerland, all the system. They recommend the Werner Munthe technique. So with all his way of assessing like all the snow and everything. And I think that's uber complicated, and I find really hard to relate. Yeah, so if you produce a boot, then please don't forget people with big feet. I'm having trouble finding good boots in size 13. Yeah, big feet and snowboarding don't go well together, but yeah, that's the way it is. I'm sorry, but yeah, thanks. I'll try to remember that, and also I think I'll try to compact as much as possible the boots so that people with bigger feet can ride more narrow board, because more narrow boards I think are more fun and more effective. What's the best way to find some freeride buddies? Shit, Tinder maybe? No, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm never doing that. I know there used to be a good platform in Switzerland, but I've never used it. Sorry. All right, forget my. Best shovel for backcountry? I don't know. Just I don't know the names of all the shovels I'm using. I'm using a black diamond one at the moment, which is aluminium. Aluminium is the bomb. And if you can like use like I like the ones that have also, you know, the where you can use, if you didn't bring your ice axe, you can use the handle as a bit of an ice axe, as a bit of a snow anchor if you need to. I think I like the combination of the two. Yeah. Do you recommend any exercise for advanced board control and technique? You're not gonna like my exercise, but I think the best way to learn is to go and ride, and that's actually the way I learned, you know, from my very first coach. It's to go in the crappiest conditions, you know, in a mogul field, and to try to make turns and to not fall, because basically if you're falling, it means that you made some technique mistakes, that you're not balanced or that you're twisted or whatever. And if you start to being able to start to stay better on your feet, it means that it's working. So this is my exercise. But whenever I was competing a lot, what I used to do is go into the park and also go into the woods on my own and try to ride as fast as I could without stopping in the woods. And the combination of the two I found was giving me such nice board control, and I felt that a few days of the two made me like ready to hit anything after that. So what's your opinion about the angle for free riding? There are different schools for that, but I've always been kind of like 0 or 3 degrees on the back foot and 18 degrees on the front foot. But yeah, I think some people like duck stance. I've never ridden duck stance, so I've always been a bit skeptic about it. But once you find your style, I don't think you know, it's going to be bad. I think the most important is to stick to what you're used to and to not think too much about it. Then stance is a bit more important. I think you need to have wide stance, but not too wide, especially if you're going to ride steep riding. In steep riding, if you have your legs a bit closer together, it's easier to make jump turns and things and to be stable. Oh, Gab, what's up? Nice. It's nice to see friends popping up. Do you go and ride switch on freeride? Yeah, it's super important to ride switch when you're freeriding, especially when you're into exposed terrain, or if you have a bad traverse to do. Sometimes, you know, you're gonna go switch, you're gonna have a better grip, and you're gonna put also a bit less pressure on your front calves muscles. So I think it's nice, and it also makes you a better snowboarder. So it's actually quite nice. Would I try hard boots? Well, I would try hard boots, but I need to get one of those new systems with the pins. I haven't had time to get a hold of one, but yes, I would like to try, actually, because more and more people get into it, and yeah, I'm actually curious. Yeah. Any material recommendations for paragliding, hike and fly? I used the Skin 3 from Niviuk, which I really like, and I know that now I'm trying to experiment like some not monosurface, but some wings that have actually the caisson, like some double layers wings, so traditional wings but light, because they have a lot better of a glide than the monosurface. And for what I'm trying to do, to float and to go a bit more into thermals and stuff and to access things. I think it seems to be a better solution. But if you're trying to just go down monosurface, I've been like riding that Skin 3 for a few years and I freaking love it. Yeah. Your favorite face around Verbier? Bec de Ros, no, I think it's too related to the competition. I think, well, my favorite combination is actually when I go to Montfort and I do the combination of the north face of Montfort, and I climb up to Bec des Etaines, and then I go into the east-north face of the Wings of Icarus, like from the summit. And I think this is, to me, like the mega combination. It's quite full on, but it makes you the perfect day, and then you can go home with a big smile. Yeah. Do I listen to music while riding? Well, if I go really piste riding, which I actually never do, or if I go touring in a super safe zone, I will listen to music because I think it fits great with free riding. But whenever there is any potential danger, free like powder or anything, I'll avoid it because hearing the noise is super important. Like already in the mountains, it's hard to see the danger coming, and yeah, like the noise is always one of the indications of danger coming your way. So it's important to keep your ears aware, kind of. Yeah. Do you enjoy snow surfing? I've actually never. Well, I guess snow surfing is surfing, well, snowboarding powder with a surfboard. But I've never tried that. I've seen Mathieu Crépel has done some amazing stuff with it, and I've always wanted to try, but I've never done it. So yeah, one thing to put on the list. If you have any recommendations, Chris, send them our way because yeah, sounds freaking fun. Do you think will be good business is a sushi bar in Verbier? Do you think would be good business is a sushi bar in Bergen? There is a sushi bar. It's called Aeki, and those guys rip, and it's freaking good. And I give them a shout out because I've got all my sushi boards up there, like that are on the wall. So I think it's great, and I'm actually gonna go there tonight. Yeah. It's not a paid advertising, by the way, because but it's funny. Are we going to see you in a Fred World Tour once again to pick the trophy another time? Oh, it's funny. But yesterday I brought my daughter to make like the Fred World Tour Junior, and I was at the start with her. She was doing the snowboarding at the end of the day, and it's funny. Like, oh, that pressure is so tough, man, and I don't miss it, but who knows? Like, and actually, to be honest, when I see the level of the guys, now you have to put a lot of tricks, and it does not always fit my style. I think here in Verbier it does fit my style, so I haven't given up completely on sending some big lines on the Bec de Ros, but any other of the small faces, I'll get destroyed by all these young guys because I can do some tricks, but not as well as those guys can. So, and yeah, actually big up on them for doing some good things. And actually, I don't know if you've seen like the Fred World Tour event yesterday with Max Baum doing the first ever double backflip and with such high control. And I think there's a new generation coming up which is super inspiring, and it's nice to see the sport still progressing. Yeah. Tac. Benjamin has got COVID. He cannot come. Freaking COVID. We hate it. So annoying. Any recommendation to improve turns and in which order? Oh, I think I can recommend you to watch my tutos on how to do a good frontside turn, a good backside turns. I think you can work on the technique because it would be too long to explain you. But yeah, once again, I think once you've got a bit of an idea of the technique, go into the crappiest terrain and try to stay on your feet as fast as you can. It's a bit of a tough technique. You might injure yourself, but that's the way I learned, and actually works. Once you're able to go through things, you don't fall anymore. So this is this is the way we used to learn snowboarding in the Pyrenees. You should have seen. I had my coach back in the days. He was called Jean-Michel Le Floch. We were like 14, 15 years old. we're on top of this giant steep mogul field, and he was like, okay, you're gonna learn how to carve in there. So that's where I'm coming from, you know. So sorry, I'm not, you might not like that style. Tak Tak, like Chris says, I should check out Asmo Potter, surfers, boards from Austria. Oh, cool. Yeah, super inspired by that. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Thanks. And yeah, I'm forgetting all you guys on Instagram too. Ever thought about going hard boots for longer splitboard missions? Yeah, once again, I think I'm quite happy with my setup, and yeah, I have never tried the full-on hard boot with the pins, which I believe would be a killer on the uphill. But for me, I'm ready to suffer for the downhill. But once again, I'm working on a solution which I hope will bring the best of both worlds. So yeah. 90s snowboarding was epic learning curve. Yeah, true. Yeah, the 90s was quite something when snowboarding was just, you know, taking birth and like getting born like really, and yeah, like there was like, yeah, I think I learned all the best lessons of my life in that era. I had such a crazy coach back then, which made us do such crazy stuff, but I thank him every day for that. Yeah. Do you have a tip for the women snowboarders in the Freeride World Tour? No, that's a good question, but yeah, I think the girls on the Freeride World Tour. It's funny because I was giving tips to my daughter yesterday when she was at the start of that competition, and I was telling her, yeah, to just force herself once again to ride on crappy terrain and just ride as fast as she could. And she was telling me that she was not able to stomp cliffs. I was telling her, just go and force yourself to jump a ton of cliff all day long. You know, I always tell her about the example of Candide Tovex. He's a good friend of mine, and I remember back in the days when I used to go and train on the glacier, like in the snow park in Les Diablerets, he would be there first in the morning and leave last in the evening. And I think there's no secret that today he can do anything with the eyes closed because he's just done it over and over again. So I think once again, repetition and being up there is to me the solution of many of the troubles. And yeah, Xavier, thanks for all the content. I have a question about Everride. Will it become available in Europe? Hi from Italy. So Everride is this application. Well, it's a phone app which enables you to sell and buy reused, used gear for the outdoors. So I think it is to me an amazing step because, you know, we use all that gear and then you use it, you try to sell it. It's not always easy, so it just sits into your cupboard. And I think giving access to it to other people and giving a longer life to it is so important. So yes, so right now it's only in France, and definitely for me it's so important to make it happen on the international, and that's something we are working on. But how long it's going to take, I'm not able to answer you right now. But yeah, I'm really hoping it will, and I will push all my heart, like with all my heart. So 90s sorrel boots and duct tape. No snowboarding boots were invented. Yeah, those were the days. Yeah, like where I came from, it was like straight to hard boots. Like even people had ski boots, like with like the click-on bindings, which were a freaking nightmare. So yeah, I was not lucky enough to start with the sorrels, but I wish. And also where I come from, there was not that much powder. Like the Pyrenees, you know, it's like it's got powder, but it's got also a lot of ice, and actually makes you a better snowboarder if you ride a lot of ice. Comes back to that freaking to that freaking tip I'm repeating over and over, to just go and ride crappy snow because it makes you stronger. You will hate my advices, and I understand you. Sergio loves my Spark XV boots. Thank you so much, and yeah, I hope you're gonna love the new ones, and you're gonna see them soon because I'm supposed to receive a pair any day now. Yeah, can we expect a revival of the video series like the ones with the crevasse saving coaching videos? The gear reviews are great, but I think we'll want to get a bit more insider information. Thanks for giving that feedback, because actually the gear review was supposed to be a side project for the North Face. So we still have every 2 weeks like the proper how to on a like specific subject, but in the middle we've been throwing in those gear reviews because we thought there was some like useful information, but that's definitely not the priority. And I'll definitely keep on going with a proper how to videos. So thanks for following them because that's important to me. And as a free rider, what were the worst injuries in the backcountries? Yeah, actually, it's funny, but not next week, but the week after, we're gonna be filming, like with a super knowledgeable person. We're gonna be filming how to on the most common big injuries. So like from what I've been guessing that she's gonna tell us, there's a femur is quite a lethal one. I know that head injuries is quite another one. Well, I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about, but there's going to be a subject dedicated to this. Actually, 2 episodes which are going to be different, and we're going to cover a lot of those points because, yeah, when you're out there on your own, you're basically very often relying on yourself, and especially in case of avalanche danger where you don't have much time. But even so, rescue are not always able to find you, to know where you're at. You're not always possible, like able to call them also. So if you have a bit of a base, a medical base, it will definitely help you, and it will it could save some trouble for sure. So if you're interested in learning from it, I think it's good, and we definitely have some episodes coming about that. Thanks to all the pioneers and the advice. Practice what you can't do. Has to be your avalanche experience. Yeah. What do you think about freeride in the past years in EU? It's becoming very complicated. I can see every year more difficult with this climate change. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say because it seems that my feeling with the climate change is that the weather is a bit less steady, so it's gonna go from very warm to very cold, but like it's gonna be less of the usual trends that we're used to since decades and decades. But at the end of the day, for riding, I don't know if it's gonna be more complicated. Really, it's hard to say, and we're gonna be able to say I don't know in 10 years time. But yeah, some people also think that climate change has a big impact on snow stability. But once again, it's a tricky question, and in some ways also the fact of having temperature changing quite a lot sometimes it will bring a big heating wave which will kind of compact all the snowpack and which will in a way stabilize it. But also some like another point, sometimes you're not going to have this steady cold weather for a long time, so which is usually after there is a certain amount of snow, it's kind of it brings stability. But yeah, snow stability has got so many factors linked together, so at the end of the day it's really really hard to say what the general effect is from climate change, if it helps or if it doesn't help on snow stability and getting powder. Because yeah, I think we're going to see probably more and more huge sessions of huge tons of snow, which is almost going to be too much sometimes. But sometimes also we're going to see some big dry periods like we're having right now, or some like rain super high and really warm. Yeah, some weird weather, that's for sure. That's going to be coming our way, but there might be some good sessions in the way somewhere. Yeah. Question from have you been snowboarding the Rocky Mountains in Canada? Well, yes, I've been. Revelstoke, I've been there. Yeah, Nelson, I have. Yeah, I have as well. Actually, yeah, I've been around a bit. Yeah, I'm a big fan of BC, and yeah, I'd love to go there one day soon. Yeah. Tack. A question from GB, writes the Xv Split, and he asked me, is it normal that the 2 board parts in ride mode move up and down differently depending on the pressure? I think that's in. Yeah, I'm not sure about your question there. Like, I think you're saying that yeah, that you feel that the whole board is not flexing together. Normally it should, because it's got a really nice locking system in the middle. But sorry, I'm not being able to completely answer your question because I don't understand it super well. How do you think you would do in a natural selection? I think you'd smash it. Thank you, Sergio, but I think unfortunately you have a too high idea of my level. Because it's funny because I had this discussion with my brother Victor. Victor comes from freestyling, so it's a lot more an event for himself. And I told him that it's even too much freestyle for him because it's basically a park event in powder. And basically the guys that are training for the Olympics in park, like Mark McMorris and all those guys, they've got all those spins so dialed that 720 they can do it with the eyes closed, and they've got a lot more margin than any of us. And I think I would be freaking terrible at it. And I will never ever even try to go there. But thanks for having such a great image of me. Sorry to disappoint you. What's the perfect steepness for riding in the backcountry? Actually, I find that the steeper, the more fun in a way. But that's my perspective on it. But it depends on the snow. So I think that, well, maybe to just throw a number like this, I would say that 45 degrees is pretty good because it's steep enough so that you're going to have that effect of steep. You're going to have a snowpack that has been cleaning itself a little bit when you need. And if you fall and if the snow is powdery, you're still going to be able to stop, and it's still going to be sloughing. So yeah, I think that's probably a good steepness where you're going to be having some fun. But once again, a 30 degrees angle with sheer ice, or a 55 degrees angle with just compact powder that's like where you go down 20 centimeters into it, like with all powder, like everything is relative. I think I probably feel nicer into the 55 degrees with that snow. That's like, it's actually going to be a lot less scary than 30 degrees on ice. I can tell you that. And once again, it all depends. So snow quality and snow thickness, and also like how much it's gonna slough. Yeah. Anyways, there are lots of factors into that. So there's not one answer to this. How did you start freeriding big mountains? Did you just went by yourself and over again, or did someone guide you? By the way, oh, thanks for the how to. Yeah. Well, actually, no, you cannot go really on yourself. But like a normal progression is to start in a ski resort, and in a ski resort, you start to go on the side. You start to understand how it works. You start to see, to get stuck, to do a few mistakes. You start to see some avalanches around, and then you just take it further and further from there. And also, when you're staying around in a ski resort, you're gonna have terrain that's gonna be ridden quite a lot. So, which is, the avalanche danger is going to be cleaned a little bit. So I think that's going to make it also easier to just go further and further. And also, once again, you're going to get life like lift access, so that's going to help you quite a lot. But once again, if you want to learn, the best way to do it is to learn with someone, like, so either a guide or people that are more experienced as you, and to really, really take your time to not push it, because there's so much to learn. It's funny, I was discussing with my cousin Eduardo yesterday, because he's getting fully into splitboarding, but he comes from scratch, and like, it's funny talking to him. You realize how much there is to learn, but at the same time, it's a super inspiring subject. There's so much to learn. It kind of makes you see, like those beautiful mountains with different eyes, and you can basically learn all your life. Yeah, no matter how good you are, you will always see some cases, learn from someone, and I think that's super inspiring. So yeah, just go with people, just take courses, stick around ski resort, go step by step, respect, humility, take your time, but yeah, just go for it because it's worth it. Yeah. What's the longest splitboarding activity you did? Like the longest mission I did? I don't know. I don't know. Probably maybe good 15 hours or something like this. Yeah, once we rode with a Samantha Matten. We did ride a full day, like a big session filming hardcore lines. And then we toured up to a hut, arrived at the hut at midnight. And then at 2 o'clock, we got up and went to ride this big summit. It was the Spitz, and probably rode it until 12 o'clock or something. Yeah. So yeah, that might have been one of the longest, but I'm sorry, I don't keep count. Some more questions. Love from Utah, thanks. Tending. Cool. It's a shame on Instagram. I struggle to seeing all the older questions, but yeah, I'm trying to do it. It's the first time I do it on live on Instagram, and I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna do it more. Tack. Well, a question from Harai Kasala. Any advice on anchoring when you have to switch from board to crampons on icy conditions? Do you always ride with a harness? So can you put a nice crew? Tack. Can you put a nice crew or something like that? Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, because basically when you need to switch from touring to crampons, normally you can do it early enough so that you can still bang your feet into the snow, so you might not need to anchor yourself. And I don't think you're going to be able to put a nice crew. Like, to put a nice crew into the snow, you need to have real ice. Like, on snow it will be worthless. And I think if you have crampons, you probably have an ice axe. And if you've been able to tour until the point where you're going to have to switch to crampons, you're going to be able to bang your the handle of your ice axe into the snow. Sorry, my daughter is going a bit crazy, but I hope it doesn't disturb you too much. But yeah, if it's even that much harder, you just bang like your blade into the ice. But I would not tie my harness into the snow. I don't think that's worthwhile, just to put your crampons. Actually, well, there might be some cases where you might need to, but if you've been touring until the point where you need to do that, for sure, it's not going to be hard enough to do all that. So yeah, good question anyways. Yeah. And where are we? How did you develop your climbing skills? Did you take separate course or on the fly? Actually, it's funny. I started climbing separately, like rock climbing, proper rock climbing, and then I moved to Sham when I was around 19, and there I kind of learned. Like I learned it on the go. On the go, like the fact of having done like sports climbing and then long routes, kind of gave me a bit of a sense to use ropes to feel better in the mountains, like kind of that way of thinking that started to lead me towards mountaineering. And I didn't do that much mountaineering in summer and stuff, but I did some like quite a few like big missions. Like my first wife was doing her guides course, so I did a lot of her list with her. So we're going around in huts and climbing some big north faces and stuff. And I don't have a huge level, but it's been it doesn't take a super high level of mountaineering to feel so much better into the mountains for for the question of snowboarding. So yeah, I think in the mountains, it's not like you need to learn with a guide or you need to learn that way or that way. You go a bit, make your experience. You go with some people which will teach you something. You go with super strong people which will teach you a lot more. So for sure, the more you go with super experienced people, the better. But you can do with what you have. I think that's the most important. And any day in the mountains, you always learn something. So I think the more you get out there, the more you'll get things to take back home and to think about. And also, it's funny, another point on progression on mountaineering and your decision making in the mountains. I was talking the other day with Tony Lamiche, who's got, by the way, an amazing series which called Guide Michelin. So it's like super technical, a lot more technical than I do, but you get like some really good insights on a very high level for all the mountaineering stuff. And basically, he was talking a lot on like progression, on the fact that too many people do things, take decisions in the mountains, and they don't take the time in the evening to necessarily, look back at what they've done, and like, assess all their actions in the day, learn from them, and not do the same mistakes again, or become better. So I think he was really recommending a lot to basically to always try to put a lot of energy on the after of your session, because the like to basically always analyze what you had done on the same day or in the previous days or weeks, and learn from it. He was saying that this was a super important part of the process. What is your opinion about Ayman Navarro and his last run yesterday in Baqueira? It's funny that you say that, because I'm a big fan of Aymar. I'm like, we're together. Like he joined the North Face international team not too long ago, and I know him since quite a few years. And I love his personality, because he just goes for it in such a Spanish powerful way. I have a lot of respect for him. And my brother told me about his run, but I didn't see it. But I can imagine, because I've seen him in Verbia here, and I can see the way he goes like the toro into the into the freaking drape. I think he's a beast, and he's really, really strong and talented. You should see his abs. Actually, they're like huge. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting to the end of it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I might have missed quite a lot of questions. Yeah, I've been doing for the first time also the live on Instagram, which is a new thing, and it seems to have worked quite well there. And I'm super thankful for all your dedication to it, and all your commitment, and thank you. Like, feel free to write me on YouTube, like in the comments on my episodes, because you can, I really try to take the time there to answer everything. And yeah, thanks for sharing your passion. Tomorrow we're gonna have, no, actually on Tuesday we're gonna have a live webinar with Audi. It's gonna be talking about all the psycho side of snowboarding, all decision making, all the fear, all the lessons I got. And we're gonna have this be a super high level mental coach who's gonna bring all the theory behind everything, and who is gonna kind of analyze all my ways of dealing with risk, and all my procedures of acting in the mountains and everything. So I think it should be really interesting. Actually, I'm super curious to see what it's going to be like, because I think he's going to probably make me see the way I act in the mountains in a very different way, or make me understand it better. So yeah, if you want to join, I think that's going to be the link on my bio on Instagram, and yeah, I'll be happy to see you there, and you're going to be able also to ask questions again. But yeah, I'll do this again in probably in 2 weeks. So yeah, if you have more questions, feel free to bring them in, and I'm sorry if I did not answer everything. And I wish you, until then, if you can write, some good writing, and if not, I wish you all the best. Love you all, and yeah, may the force be with you. All right. Ciao, ciao.